The legend of Loch Ness can be traced back as far as the 6th century, with the story of Saint Columba demanding the water serpentine monster to stop its attack on a man swimming across the loch. Ever since this legendary encounter with Nessie, the monster that supposedly resides in this body of water in the Scottish Highlands, people have been fascinated and intrigued by the mystery that enshrouds this peculiar water beast. However, interesting enough, Nessie is not a typical monster in the sense that it instills blatant and total fear, but rather an odd sense of wonder and mystery. What exactly is the Loch Ness Monster? The fact that no one person throughout history has successfully been able to definitely define the curious case of Nessie continues to leave seekers of the monster both completely baffled and yet voraciously hungry for a solid answer. Does Nessie not being able to be defined in typical monster terms take away from it being called a monster? Not necessarily. In fact, if anything, this stumbling block in accurately categorizing Nessie lends greater support as to why the definition of monster ought to be broadly based in the first place. Do all monsters need to be feared? Do all monsters have to be subjugated to the previous notions and assumed roles to which we assign to them? I would argue no to both of these in regards to the Loch Ness Monster specifically. Through scientific approaches, some studying this monster mystery have attempted to pinpoint the exact explanation for the creation of something seemingly unexplainable, maybe even unbelievable. Yet why must science be relied upon in the search for something fundamentally mythical and mysterious? People want facts. People want reassurance in the ability to positively define what they don't know and what is alien or foreign to them. For this reason, Cohen's theses on the monster embodying the so-called other directly apply to the monster of Loch Ness. Nessie is not a terrifying werewolf or bloodthirsty vampire. It is a monster that cannot be pigeonholed to a single definition, yet loosely and abstractly defined based on certain psychologies and ideologies. First, Nessie is a long-standing cultural symbol for Scotland and ancient Scottish history, which is drenched in mythological legends and tales. For this reason, Nessie is a continuation of the proud heritage the Scottish wish to preserve and pass on. The monster is just as much a cultural embodiment as the historic Celts and Druids. The inability to clearly define the monster or even watch a full-body glimpse of the water beast also lends support for the argument that Nessie is a monster in the fact that it opens the door for untamed possibility and imagination. Since it cannot be restricted to any one particular specimen or animal, the Loch Ness Monster policies the border of the possible. It is just as much a figment of any person's imagination as it is real, since people both past and present cannot specifically categorize it. Yet it is just this unlimited imagination and unrestricted possibility that allows for people to continually create numerous mystiques and opinions about what the water monster truly is. Thus, with multiple associations tied to it, Nessie truly embodies the other. No matter how specific people try to define it based on a photograph here and there and what they imagine Nessie to be, the monster of Loch Ness is nonetheless something unknown, foreign, and different than that which we can define clearly. However, assigning this name for Nessie also leaves one believing that as a monster, it metaphorically embodies all the fears, suspicions, and insecurities of the society to which it is most closely associated with. And in this case, that group can also be widened to those earnestly invested in the mystery of the Loch Ness Monster. The monster epitomizes those worries and fears that people try to suppress, yet ironically, those suppressed ideas only rise to the surface more and are highlighted by the ironic desire searchers of Nessie display in their relentless quest. There is a distinct interest, fascination, fascination of, and attraction towards the other because it does not resemble anything mentally tangible and concrete. People want to believe in the seemingly impossible. They want to put their faith in something that extends beyond the clear-cut borders of reality as we know and perceive it. Moreover, why is it that so many scientists perform numerous studies, experiments, and tests on the Loch Ness Monster? Perhaps this is a way of taming an idea and notion that cannot be thoroughly restrained. People are constantly trying to assign scientific terminology and reasoning for abnormal behavior and circumstances. In the case of Nessie, various scientists and paleontologists have visited Loch Ness in the hopes of successfully taming the monster and of successfully naming the monster a plesiosaur, which is an ancient water serpentine reptile that lived thousands of years ago. In trying to provide evidence for this hypothesis, scientists undermine the possibility of the impossible. They try to rationalize and reason their way out of believing in the extraordinary and in particularly in the concept of the monster. Because scientists have been theorizing and attempting to prove the invalidity of Nessie being a monster for years now, and with no hardcore evidence or success, I believe the idea of Nessie as a monster, whether legendary or factual, will continue to prevail on the simple grounds that people need it to. People have an innate sense of curiosity and intrigue for that which cannot be fully explained or proved by science. People want to believe in something they can't see. They want to leave that door to the possibility of the improbable open. Similar to the scientific approach in trying to tame the mystery that surrounds Nessie, people utilize commercialism and the media to lessen the oddity and unfamiliarity of the Loch Ness Monster. People are constantly trying to bring monsters down to their own level, one that is non-threatening, unintimidating, and even child-friendly and amusing. Throughout Scotland, and especially near the small towns of Loch Ness, tourists are annually encouraged to partake in the commercialism associated with Nessie. This monster can be objectified as a keychain, a stuffed animal, pins, and even a character in children's movies. The reasoning behind this? Modernity has shifted the focus of Nessie the mysterious monster to Nessie the mysterious but friendly monster. This allows for the monster aspect of Nessie to be undermined and for the animal-like character of Nessie to be illuminated and focused upon. Whether it be purely for commercial success and touristy propaganda, or for yet another interesting Disney phenomenon, both cases ultimately utilize the power of Nessie's otherness to personally define the monster in unthreatening terms the masses want to hear, and that are also marketable and profitable. In his psychoanalytic studies and research, Jacques Lacan explains the theory of the signifier as being the unconscious repression of something in relation to something else that can be defined, qualified, and named. In not having an intrinsic quality or definition in relation to that that does, and reality, Lacan's notion of the signifier can be applied to the mystery and uncertainty associated with the Loch Ness Monster. Although no one has ever fully seen or come into direct contact with the monster, it is more the notion and the idea of the possibility of what the monster is not that continues to intrigue, baffle, and possibly frighten millions. Nevertheless, it is that same concept of not knowing that will cause people time and time again to try to define the monster element of Nessie. Yet this is the very reason the monster of Loch Ness has gained so much popularity and so many followers. It truly is Scotland's monster of mystery.